In this tutorial, we will discuss saving cues and presets. The fan mode, selection, and cue list settings will be discussed in detail. Selection. Besides the usual way of selecting fixtures, for example by entering the syntax 101 through 110, you can also use one of the following ways. If you have patched a series of fixtures of the same fixture type and consecutive fixture IDs, you can use the 101 through plus enter syntax. The console knows where the end of the selection is, as long as there are consecutive fixture IDs and the types are the same. You can use the through button to select consecutive sequences. With the plus button, you can also add individual fixtures. For example, 101 through 106 plus 110. Via the minus button, you can exclude fixtures from the selection. 101 through 110 minus 109 selects all fixtures from 101 to 110 except fixture 109. To select a part of the fixture selection, for example, odd or even, you can press the selection in the lower right corner of the screen. In this toolbar, you can halve the selection, select at random, invert, and shuffle it. By pressing the even/odd button, you can divide the selection into even and odd fixtures. You can also use the numeric keypad to enter a partial selection. For example, to make an odd or an even selection, you can type 1/2 and press enter. The console now selects the odd fixtures from the total selection. Press Next to select the even selection. You can also select groups of 3 by typing 1/3, groups of 4 by typing 1/4, and so on. You can also make more complex selections this way, like the first 2 fixtures of a group of 4. By typing 1 plus 2/4, you get the desired selection. There are many ways to make complex fixture selections. If you have patched multi-cell fixtures, for example, a wash with multiple pixels, you can select the cells or fixtures as follows. The main fixture is selected by using the main fixture ID, 201 in the case of the example. If you use this fixture ID, you will select all instances of this fixture. To select individual instances, you can enter the following syntax. 201.0 selects the main instance in the case of the example. This instance controls the position, dimmer, zoom, beam, and control parameters. If you want to select the individual RGBW pixels, use the syntax 201.1 for pixel 1 or 201.20 for pixel 20. You can also make complex selections of pixels via the plus and the minus button and the fraction method. This is the basis for programming effects, presets, chases, and cue lists, as the fixture selection order determines the outcome of these items. If you adjust fixtures and/or parameters in the programmer, you can save these adjustments as groups, presets, or cue lists. The programmer always shows important visual feedback about which parameters and values are active and saved. In the example, we select a fixture and give it a dimmer value of 100%. In the programmer, the adjusted parameters are colored red. The whole cell under the heading dimmer is now red and shows the value at 100%. This means that when you press the record button, this value will be programmed. The outline around the intensity parameter button is also red now. The shutter value has a grey-blue color. This parameter has no value and therefore sends out the default value. To clear the value and the selection in the programmer, press the clear button 3 times. After pressing the clear button once, the color of the dimmer cell changes. Now only the text is red. The outline of the intensity button is now yellow. This means that there are values for the selected fixture in the programmer, but that they are not saved. If you press the Clear button for the second time, the console will set all the values you have changed back to default. Only the selection remains. The third time you press the Clear button, the console will also remove the fixture selection. Select a fixture and set the dimmer value to 100%. Press the Record button. In the toolbar below the programmer, a number of buttons appear. These present the options for saving data. Merge will add the new value to already existing information in a queue list, preset, or group. Remove will remove the adjusted parameter values from the selected queue list, preset, or group. Replace will replace the old values with the new values in a queue list, preset, or group. Insert adds a queue for the currently selected queue. All for selected will store all the values of the selected fixtures, regardless of whether you touch them or not. Everything will store all the values of all the fixtures in the show, whether you have touched them or not. By holding down the Infinity button and then pressing Record, you can directly select the Merge function. Also, by holding down the Infinity button and then pressing the Record button repeatedly, you can switch between the different record options. If the Name It button is enabled, the console will ask for the name of an item after it's saved. By default, the console will always choose non-destructive programming. This means that the console will always pop up and give you the option to choose whether an item should be merged, replaced, or deleted. Whenever possible, the console will always choose a merge mode. In this mode, it leaves existing values intact. To delete saved items, press Delete. In the Delete toolbar, you can again choose different options. Delete Object will only delete the executor you select. It will save it in the queue list pool, so you can add it to a new location. The Delete All mode also deletes the queue list behind an executor. Delete Queues removes all queues from a queue list. Remove Content removes custom parameters just like the Remove mode of the Record function. Fan mode. To use the Fan function, press the Fan Mode button on the right below the programmer. The toolbar below the programmer now displays different fan options. Here you can set the mode of the fan and create groups or buddies. After choosing the mode, you first have to press the Fan button on the console to activate it. You can also keep the Fan button pressed while fanning. Once you release the Fan button, the mode will be deactivated. If you press the Fan button briefly, the button works as a toggle button. A second press deactivates the fan mode. Grouping allows you to select after how many fixtures the console should repeat the fan. By selecting a group of 12 and then setting a grouping of 4, you will create 3 identical fan patterns. Buddying allows you to select the number of fixtures that should fan exactly the same. Choosing 6 buddies on a group of 12 fixtures results in 2 groups of fixtures with matching values. Fan left, fan center, and fan right determine the direction in which the fan function starts distributing the values. Randomize generates random values for the selected fixtures. Queue lists. Once you have set the parameters as desired, you can create a queue list by clicking on the Record button. You can save a queue list directly to the executors. You can save queue lists under faders, buttons, and virtual executors. By pressing on the queue list, you open the Edit screen. In the pop-up, you can switch between 3 tabs. In the Edit Fader tab, you can choose the different modes of the buttons and faders. Each fader can have its own layout. For a stacking queue list, this can be a Go button, and for a busk fader, a flash in the form of Flash plus Go plus Off. You can also enable or disable the auto start and auto stop functions of the fader here. In the QList View tab, you see the same widget as in the normal QList views. It shows which queues and timings are in the selected queue list. In the QList Settings tab, you will find all possibilities to link a queue list to masters, to set priorities, to turn tracking on or off, or to switch to queue list to a chase. You can use the Renumber Queues button to arrange all queue numbers of a queue list in order. Tracking allows you to turn the tracking function on or off for the queue lists. Priority settings determine the HTP and LTP functions for the fader. Run mode sets the action the queue list performs after running through all queues. Release time determines how long the queue lists fade out when deactivated. Mutual Release Group gives you the possibility to link several queue lists to a mutual release group. Only one queue list may be active in this group at a time. As soon as a queue list is activated, the console deactivates the other queue lists in the same mutual release group. In the Fade Master, Effect Size Master, and Effect Speed Master drop-down menus, you can link the queue list to associated masters or fixed settings. Off all effects at start stops all effects of a queue list when you restart it. Add Zero Queue adds an invisible queue with the number 0, where all fixtures have a dimmer value at 0%. So the Move in Black function works without the need of a preset queue. Ignore Off All commands ensures that you do not affect this list if you use one of the All Off commands. If overwritten is on, the console will deactivate the list as soon as you activate a different queue list with similar fixtures and parameters. Do Not Release Other Queue Lists ensures that, when you activate this list, it does not deactivate other lists. The Learn Timing button allows you to step through a queue list, after which the queue list itself adopts your trigger times for each queue. The timecode mode can be set as Go Queue and Go To Queue, where Go Queue only triggers the list forward. The Go To Queue mode allows the console to always jump to the correct time, even if that time is in the past. In the Start Timecode box, you can set the starting point of the timecode for the entire queue list. The console calculates the correct interval between all queues when changing the start time. Chases. By pressing the Chase button, the various buttons change from the Settings menu to the parameters for chases. The Go Trigger value allows you to start a chase always at a certain BPM. The Chase Playback order changes the direction of the chase. The Chase Snap value changes the crossfade between the different steps in a chase. You can disable queue lists by pressing the Off button and then selecting an executor. When you press the Off button, you can use the different off modes that appear in the toolbar under the programmer. Off window opens a pop-up where you can see in detail which queue lists are active. You can also switch off queue lists from this window. Reset Group Fader resets all group masters to 100%. Reset Queue List Fader resets all queue lists to 100%. Off All Playbacks disables all queue lists and executors. Release Everything disables all queue lists and resets Group Masters and the Grand Master to 100%. Special Masters. You can add a special master to each fader of the console. Pressing an empty fader on the touchscreen opens the Link Executor screen. Via the tab Global Masters, you can add the different special masters. You can also choose to create a group master for a selection of fixtures. This fader limits the total output of the chosen fixtures in the chosen group. Thanks for watching.